Chapter 95 Restless Thought. Tisha regained his balance and looked up at the stairs. Under this violent shaking, the old building began to have numerous cracks. Qingdao is a coastal city where earthquakes are rarely seen. So the houses built here had no idea how many magnitudes of earthquakes they could withstand. Tisha was worried that the building might collapse at any moment. He had to find Union and quickly. "Anne, can you hear me? Come down quickly," Tisha shouted again. The whole building was shaking, and the loud noise soon drowned out Xia's voice. And Tisha steadied himself and continued running upstairs. An earthquake can disrupt a normal person's sense of balance, let alone running up the stairs. Tisha felt that his legs were bruised all over from bumping into things, but he still kept climbing up with his hands and feet. If Union and I'd in this earthquake, Tisha would have no reason to live on. Damn it, it's still shaking. Tisha fell to the ground again, and his whole knee went numb. He had read the news before. Earthquakes with the strongest tremors usually only lasted for a short period of time, no more than 3 minutes at most. But Tisha felt that the whole ground had been shaking for nearly 5 minutes and still showed no sign of stopping. How massive an earthquake must this be? Finally, Tisha dragged his wounded body to the 3rd floor. The building was still shaking continuously. Tisha wanted to knock on the door, but then he suddenly remembered that Union might be hiding under the table. Running around at this time would be even more dangerous, so he could only take out the key from his pocket. However, he couldn't insert the key into the lock at all. People were shaking, hands were shaking, and the building was shaking. Everything in his vision was shaking. There were still a lot of loud noises in the distance, and even the sound of glass breaking. Damn it, damn it. Tisha held the key with both hands and finally inserted it into the lock. With a click, the door opened. "Are you here?" Tisha shouted. The room was silent. He instantly thought of something. There was only one possibility if there was no response in the room. Union had already gone out. Tisha didn't say a word and turned around to leave. But then he suddenly remembered the phone call Union had made to him. No, there's a second possibility. She was ill. Tisha was instantly caught in a dilemma. The whole building was shaking more and more violently. If he didn't run out as soon as possible, he would surely die here. But he definitely couldn't abandon Union. "Anne, are you here?" Tisha pushed the door and entered the room. The empty room was silent, and several simple pieces of furniture were also toppled over during the earthquake. Tisha glanced under the small dining table, and it was empty there. Not here. Could it be in the bedroom? He held onto the single sofa and walked forward with difficulty. In just a few steps, he reached the bedroom door. If Union was still at home, she could only be here. And the moment he pushed the door open, Tisha showed a relieved expression. There was no one in the bedroom at all. All he could see was a desk and a chair. Tisha let out a long sigh of relief. Union had probably escaped to a safe place. Now, even if he died, there was nothing to be afraid of. He was just about to turn around and run away when he suddenly froze in place as if struck by lightning. Something seemed wrong. A creepy feeling gradually rose in Xia's heart, making his hair stand on end and leaving him unable to calm down for a long time. During the huge earthquake, Tisha turned his head blankly and looked at this eerie bedroom. Why was there only a table and a chair? Where was the bed? He completely ignored the small fragments falling from the ceiling and walked to the desk step by step. In his impression, there was a photo of himself and Union on the table. But when Tisha walked closer and picked up the photo, he found that there was only himself in the picture, looking expressionless at the camera while standing by the seat, leaving this lonely photo. And Tisha seemed to lose his mind, and the sense of balance he had just regained disappeared completely. He only felt dizzy and went back to the state of stumbling with every step. He fell countless times before crawling into the living room. There was a single sofa and a small dining table for one person. There wasn't even a seat prepared for a second person in this room. "Are you kidding me?" Tisha showed a desperate smile. What kind of joke are you playing on me? He remembered something again and quickly crawled to the door. There was a small shoe cabinet there. Kaijal gritted his teeth and opened the door of the shoe cabinet. There was only a pair of men's leather shoes inside. From the inside to the outside of this room, there was no trace of Yu Niane and S-Life at all. Kaijal suddenly lost his strength and sat down on the ground. All the scenes of getting along with Yu Nian were vivid in his mind. The smell on her body, the temperature of her palm, and her smiling eyes with a curve when she smiled. Kijal remembered every detail clearly. But why wasn't she here at all? Kijal couldn't figure it out. He couldn't understand everything that had happened. Yu Nian had called him less than an hour ago. How could she not be here? Kijal tremblingly took out his mobile phone from his pocket and dialed Dae's number again. He slowly swallowed and his whole body was shaking. He seemed to have already foreseen something. Sorry, the number you dialed does not exist. Please check and dial again. As the cold bilingual broadcast in Chinese and English sounded, TXIA's mobile phone also dropped to the ground. All of this was too terrifying. Yu Nian didn't exist. Impossible. TXIA's eyes suddenly became firm. He could clearly recall the first time he met Yu Nian and every day of their life together. She couldn't possibly not exist. Kaijal, do you know? Yu Nian's voice echoed in his mind. There are many roads in this world, and everyone has their own path. Kaijal suddenly stood up and stood firm in the shaking room. After thinking for a moment, he walked towards the bedroom again and opened the wardrobe without hesitation. Among many men's clothes, there was an old white shirt. He took the white shirt and turned it over. There was a patch of a cartoon yam sewn on the chest position. It was sewn by Yu Nian and herself. Kaijal had never known how to mend clothes. He would just throw away worn clothes. If Yu Nian didn't exist, this lamb shouldn't exist either. Damn it, I understand. Kojli raised his head and looked out of the window. The land of doom. Do you want to drive me crazy? Do you want me to think that I'm a madman? He slowly stood up, with an unprecedented hatred on his expression. Even if you are gods, I will make you give Yu Nian back to me. As soon as he finished speaking, Kijal saw that huge cracks suddenly appeared in the sky outside the window. The cracks were pitch black, like the boundless universe. The whole ceiling also collapsed with a loud noise that seemed to destroy the world at this time. Kijal was heavily crushed under the rubble. On his deathbed, Lin Ting's voice rang in his ear. I'm really curious about you. I don't mean to offend you, but you're a liar. What kind of person is your wife? You have a wife. Even if you two live together, do you still sit and sleep every night?